On this episode of Just Informed Talk, a hacking collective known as the Dark Overlord claims to have found a entire set of 9/11 litigation documents that have been up till now kept secret, which may contain some incredibly incriminating things, and they are trying to use it to extort the people involved. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. I always like to start by saying thank you to all my subscribers. If you guys haven't hit that button, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll be notified when these videos get posted. So, if you guys are new to the channel, what we usually do is we cover QAnon stuff. Here's where we left off. This is the latest QAnon post, Q post 2642, back from December 22nd. Today is January 1st, and there is so much going on today that this story I had to come and bring it to you first. But if you want to find out more information about QAnon, I always encourage everyone to come back here, watch these last few videos on the channel. Also, watch this video right here about what exactly QAnon and the Great Awakening is. It'll give you a lot of great insights into what QAnon is and how to find the information, how to do the research. But today's video is about something very different. Today's video is about this right here. There was a group that just popped up last night on New Year's Eve. Obviously, I was doing my due diligence over here on 4chan, right? So it's a group calling themselves the Dark Overlord. Now, what they claim to be are hackers of 9/11 documents. Now, what are these documents? Well, apparently, these documents seem to show improprieties. They seem to show criminality. That's what's being alleged by these individuals who stole this information. Now, they were over here on the 4chan, and they decided to do a AMA, which is an Ask Me Anything. And basically, they go through this whole Q&A with everyone here where they talk about what they've done. Okay, we're going to look through that Q&A really quickly, but this is kind of their manifesto, their statement, their what they said is their press release. Okay, and this press release talks about what they did and what they're doing. So we're going to read through it real quick together. I'm going to try to skip through some of the parts because a lot of it's just ranting and crazy, but we'll start right here. This was their message to the people who they hacked and who they have. The information they have is from places like Lloyd's of London, the insurance company, and the Silverstein Group, and or Silverstein Properties, the one that owned basically the buildings for 9/11, the Twin Towers. Now, I'm just delivering you this. This is the news. I'm reading it to you. This happened. This was all over Twitter. It was all over the vote boards. It was all over. I've even seen an article already from the Daily Beast about it. So I figured I might as well get this out there because this literally happened not too long ago, about 8 hours ago, 10 hours ago, on the 31st, on New Year's Eve, while everybody's out partying, having a good time. Yours truly is sitting on a computer skimming through 4chan boards. So no, I did have a good New Year's though. So let's get right into this. I'm going to read the message or some of the parts of this. But it says, this is the Dark Overlord. That's what they call themselves, which is a pretty satanic name in my opinion. But they can do what they want, right? And they're delivering a message. It says, for those of you who live in the northern hemisphere of the planet Earth, autumn has come to an end, winter has arrived, the deciduous trees. Yeah, okay. It's pretty wordy and kind of weird. But anyway, it says, we often come across or create situations that turn quite peculiar very quickly. One such case when we initiated an action against a seemingly ordinary company located in the United States that unfortunately didn't turn out the way we wanted. We breached their network and stole hundreds of gigabytes of litigation-related documents and others that the world may soon come to see. We investigated our grand pile of loot and we found documents in regards to one of the most infamous events in the history of the United States. The key is that the documents were not public, nor would this company want them public. Not to mention thousands of documents surrounding companies such as Monsanto, Bank of America, and many other Fortune 500 companies. Hundreds of thousands of documents. What sorts of documents specifically? Emails, retainer agreements, non-disclosure agreements, settlements, litigation strategies, liability analysis, defense formations, collection of expert witness testimonies, communications with government officials in countries all over the world, voicemails dealing with the FBI, U.S. Department of Justice, Department of Defense, and more, confidential communications, and so much more. So let's just stop right here, guys. This paragraph says that what they did is they went and they were hacking this company in the U.S., and they found all of this treasure trove of information on these Fortune 500 companies that has to do with litigation surrounding, you guessed it, 9/11, the actual what happened that day. So we're going to keep reading. So going forward, this is what they keep saying here. It says, we immediately approached this company with our most handsome business proposition, which they were reluctant to accept. However, they ultimately accepted and provided us a financial payment that satisfied our agreement. However, as with previous clients in the past, we're looking at you, this whatever Larson Studios. It says, this client of ours also violated the agreement and began cooperating with law enforcement, which our agreements strictly forbid unless it's legally required of the client. This involvement with law enforcement became clear to us months later through a source of ours disclosing details of the client to us that we never informed the source about. We were absolutely appalled by this transgression against our agreement. We decided to offer this company a second chance to repent, accept responsibility, and satisfy our penalty request. They declined to accept our offer, so we're here today. So let's sum this up, guys. These hackers, this group, whatever it is, the overlords or whatever, they decided to go and hack. They found all of this litigation information, confidentiality, confidential communications, stuff dealing with FBI, DOJ, Department of Defense, voicemail. I mean, all this stuff, right? And they tried to contact this company, I guess, that they took it from. Obviously, a very big company. We're going to get into that in a minute. But the company decided to go to law enforcement, and I guess then they turned on them. Now, this is crazy, okay? Let's keep reading. It says, let's get right into the juicy bits, shall we? It says, since our organization has been around, we've performed many hacks that have resulted in some hilarious news articles and reports, grandiose stories of entire regions closing schools, NSA, CIA, GCHQ investigating us, hoping to hunt us down, raids all over the world, arrests of alleged members, and so much more. Most of you know or may know us from our hacks of Netflix and other studios such as ABC, HBO, CBS, and others. We do hope you haven't canceled your subscription to them. However, the entire planet will now know our name as a result of a single client of ours failing under our arrangement and refusing to accept the fair penalties. Edward Snowden leaks were quite impressive and caught the world's attention due to the highly sensitive nature of the materials and the global impact. What we're about to announce and leak will top Edward Snowden's finest work, both in volume and in impact. Will guarantee to all our astute readers that the subsequent release of these materials will generate millions of news articles and result in the biggest and most significant data breach ever to have occurred. Okay. Now, I'm going to stop right there for a second because we have to just kind of absorb what's saying there. These people, first of all, they're making a grandiose claim that the documents that they've seized, these litigation files, are bigger than what Edward Snowden released in his leak. Now that, obviously, all of this is drawing red flags for me. I'm thinking, okay, well, what is this? Is this, we're going to get into what this could be later. Is it related to China? Is it related to something else? We're going to talk about that in a minute, but this is obviously pretty big if what they have is true and they're making all of these claims about, the information they have and how it's going to basically be groundbreaking and it's going to be bigger than what Snowden leaked and it's all about 9/11. So I'm just reporting the news. So don't, I'm just the messenger here. I'm just telling you guys what this says, telling you about this story. I'm showing you some information and background on it because I think it's very important to look at. Now, looking at this is kind of where the Q&A is. I kind of put this all into like a little PDF here because, the 4chan boards, let's be quite honest, I don't even like going on 4chan boards. 8chan's okay, but 4chan can get kind of crazy because everybody's just out there, man. That's the best way I could put it. But let's just read the Q&A session. So these are all the verified posts from this hacking collective, the Dark Overlord, where they do this Q&A. It's like an Ask Me Anything about what's going on here. And they even tell you like why they chose to do it on New Year's Eve, what the thought process was behind that. And then they answer some technical questions and other weird stuff. But first of all, when you see a Q, this is a question that was posted by another. They're basically it's a question that was posted by somebody on the 4chan board to them, and then they repost the question and give an answer. So just to give you like an idea of what that is, but it starts off, and like I said, guys, this all happened a few hours ago, like as of this video being made on the 1st of January, and this was over on the 4chan boards. But it says the question was basically, this doesn't seem like a group that uses the dark web would do in public. The answer was, this is something we do. We can't speak for others. This is our modus operandi. We like to do everything we can to squeeze every last coin out of our victims. We're financially motivated. For everyone else asking why we're not dumping it all, we have. It's available to torrent, and then it gives the official press release there. So, first of all, basically the question that's being posed to these guys is why are you doing this? And they say this a bunch of times throughout this Q&A. Like, they don't care about anything. They only care about money. They don't care about the truth is. They don't care. They're not politically motivated. But I'm kind of doubting that that's really the case, because this seems completely manufactured, and this seems to have some much bigger players' fingerprints all over it. If you know what I mean, especially the way that things are phrased in here. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that, because that's just my opinion. I don't know. Anyway, here's the next one. It's a question talking about 9.8 gigabytes of documents. They asked if there was videos in it. They said no. Somebody asked who did 9/11 in your opinion based on the documents, and they say they don't really give a you know what, and they just want internet money. That's what they keep saying. They just want internet money. It says they've already released a few documents. We'll look at those documents too. There's actually a few documents that they showed, but they say we're about to change the world. Edward Snowden's NSA leak will pale in comparison, or will be pale in comparison. So some of those are like technical questions. I'm just going to skip over them. They make statements like this. They say we're quite wealthy, earning hundreds of Bitcoin per year in profit from our systematic cyber extortion. GCHQ coined that term for us, and there is actually a story from GCHQ here, or their National Cybersecurity Center, which is a part of GCHQ. Which, if you guys don't know what GCHQ is, that's basically like British intelligence, like British NSA, right? And they even have like a write-up on them here about what they've done. It says a cyber crime group called the Dark Overlord has claimed responsibility for conducting cyber-enabled extortion campaigns in recent weeks. Victims include a London-based plastic surgery clinic and a Hollywood production studio, both of which are believed to have a number of high-profile clients. The group has a history of hacking organizations to obtain sensitive information before demanding money in exchange for not leaking it into the public domain. They leak snippets of data to the media to encourage them to report on their activity. This is aimed at proving that a breach has taken place and increases pressure on the victim to pay the ransom. The Dark Overlord has been responsible for indiscriminately targeting health institutions, schools, and media production companies over the last year. So this is basically describing exactly what they're doing right now. They're releasing little bits of data here publicly on the 4chan board because they're trying to pressure whoever is this major client into paying them for not releasing it. It's a form of extortion. And it goes on to say any organization that deals with sensitive personal information is at a higher risk, and da-da-da. Okay, so that's it. I mean, they're bragging about how they were basically picked out by the GCHQ. So then somebody asked a question about, do they care if they start a monetary crash, and how will that affect the money that they get? And they say they don't really care. They just say, we're not concerned about that, as we receive our payments only in internet money and like Bitcoin. It says the monetary crash will be your problem. We always advise our clients to diversify and acquire different convertible currencies. So again, a few technical questions. They keep talking about how they're financially motivated, and they're not motivated by any kind of altruistic things or any political or to help the planet, I guess. Um, Talk about how they have a dead man switch, which is basically just a way to guarantee that if anything happened to them, the information would end up getting out. They say they have several layers deployed, and they actually talk about their encryption keys and all that stuff, which they talk about. They have like 5 layers of different encryptions for different things that are coming out or that will come out. It's kind of the same way WikiLeaks did it. Now, then people are like talking about how they want to pay them to get the information, and they don't care about saving the world, of course, and they just keep going, and going and going. It says, for everyone speaking about the hack of a global insurer, you should understand, because that's what this is apparently, how sophisticated litigation works. We're sitting on secure information, classified information from the TSA, FBI, FAA, U.S. Department of Justice, and others. So that's kind of what they're saying. And then they get asked about Cicadia 3301 and WikiLeaks, and they just don't talk about that. They ask about timelines. They don't give them anything. They ask them why they decided to do it publicly at this time, and they said, 'tis the season. Then just some stupid ones. They talk about how this whole thing is an SEO ploy for them, which is a search engine optimization ploy, so they can get more eyes on it. I guess that's a part of their tactic, as described by the GCHQ earlier. They talk about how they have a Twitter, and they talk about how they want to top Snowden. Everyone's saying they're coming for us. We know GCHQ has published advisories about us and building, and they talk about how they really brag a lot about how they've been targeted by these big intelligence agencies, yet none of them seem to be able to find them or to catch them. And they brag a lot about this fact that back in Montana, they were able to close 36 schools, keeping 50,000 students out of school for 7 days. And this is actually a real thing. There's a story about how out here in Montana that they oversee hackers extort the community. So they shut down all their schools, and then they basically held them hostage to get money. It was an extortion ploy. So that's basically what happened. Now, they talk about next how they're going to share some screen captures, and they end up doing that basically to prove they have certain documents. Now, first, this is the first screen capture they share. Now, this talks about certain insurers on the World Trade Center loss, and it talks about how it's like an invoice for traveling expenses for this person to travel to Iron Mountain, which is it's like a kind of a government base. I don't know if it's like super secret or not, but anyway, to go there and to have off-site destruction of files. Do you guys read this here? And they're basically paying this person to go shred documents. And they're paying for their hotel and meals. Interesting. Okay. And then the next document they release is this one, which is a amended property plaintiff damage disclosure. It's just says subrogation here of that, and it's but the insured people on this document, and this is all obviously referring to the 9/11 litigation, is Silverstein Properties. Now, you all know who Silverstein Properties Incorporated is. This is the person who actually managed. It says here, the insured Silverstein Properties Incorporated is the business of real property acquisition and or management. The claim paid arose out of the terrorist attack that destroyed the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. They held I think it was they own the building, basically, the buildings. Now, this is all like information that I think they're coming out with all this information. This is all like dealing with obviously the insurance and obviously Lloyd's of London, who insured him. And then it talks about the connection to the Silverstein Properties, and it talks about country or connections to another company. But that being said, It's then another anon asked they have anything damaging on Hillary or Obama, and they said they're not willing to answer that question. They keep basically asking some technical questions, some timeline questions, but for the most part, they kind of go into what we just said here. Okay, so here's a good example. Now, Iron Mountain, and it's a military base, and so the Anon's asking basically why is the World Trade Center insurer shredding documents on it, right? And they say that's a great question. Then they refer you back to this statement that we read from them, and there's actually a part in this statement that refers to exactly that question in particular, which it says right here. It says, when major incidents like the World Trade Center 9/11 incident happen, part of the litigation must involve SSI, or sensitive security information, and SCI, special compartment information, from the likes of the FBI, CIA, TSA, FAA, DOD, and others being introduced into evidence. But of course, this can't become public for fear of compromising a nation's security. So they temporarily release these materials to the solicitor firms involved in litigation, with the strict demand that they're destroyed after their use and that remain highly protected and confidential, to be used only behind closed doors. However, humans aren't perfect, and many of these documents don't become destroyed. And when the dark overlord comes along hacking, all of these solicitor firms, investment banks, and global insurers, we stumble upon the juiciest secrets a government has to offer. So that kind of explains exactly what they're saying here. These documents were actually SSI and SCI documents, which would be sensitive security information, sensitive or special compartment information, that were not supposed to be kept. They were supposed to be destroyed, but then these insurers apparently kept this on record according to these individuals' claims, and then they went and took those. So I'm not saying if any of this is verified or not. I'm just reporting it to you as they're saying. So they talk about how they want, Bitcoins, and, they keep asking about what their motivations are. They don't really give many answers. It's kind of like, well, a little back and forth here. Now, here's a good one. It says, why leak on New Year's Eve? And then they actually answer it. They say, because it forces about a dozen Fortune 500 companies in the UK and the USA to build damage control and cost of analysis plans. I think that's what COA is. Anyway, you can correct me. On their New Year's holiday, robbing them of any pleasure and bringing in their new year at a new low. Okay, so that's what they said. Yeah, they make comments like this here where it says, it's like the Anon actually was asking about them, this is your big heist, are you going to go live on a beach or something afterward? And they say, we already live like the ending of a great heist movie on warm beaches with loads of internet money. They say they're quite happy. So these people are obviously cocky, but there is, I think there's so much more to this, because this just all seems too conveniently packaged here and presented. But I'm just going to leave that to you guys in the comments to let me know what you think. And then they basically sign off. Okay, so that's pretty much the full Q&A from that. Now, inside of that, they talk about how they have a Twitter page and how they're doing this and doing that, and it's all kind of like these massive insinuations of how they've got all this stuff figured out. They're going to these companies and they're trying to extort them. That's basically what it is. Right now, there's a couple of thoughts I think that are floating around about what this whole thing was. This 4chan. So first, people are talking about, is this like a limited hangout? Now, if you guys don't know what that is, it's an intelligence jargon for a form of propaganda in which a selected portion of a scandal, criminal act, sensitive or classified information, etc., is revealed or leaked without telling the whole story. The intention may be to establish credibility as a critic of something or somebody by engaging in criticism of them, while in fact covering up for them by omitting many details. I don't know how that would work. You guys can use your imagination. It's something that was considered on the boards by people. Another thing that was considered, and this one was more my own theory, was that is this some sort of Chinese hack? I don't know. Is it like are these people who are, because we don't know who they are, and they seem to speak decent English, but at the same time, that's not really hard to do for any major government. And the question is, what are the motivations of these hackers? What are the true motivations? Because they just brag about how all they want is internet money and they don't care about anything. But this story is not from too long ago. A couple weeks ago, we have two high up Chinese hackers who were picked up, or were indicted by the FBI. And could this be a form of retaliation? That was something that had, basically crossed my mind, and I thought it was something that was a worthwhile thing to discuss here on the channel. So I figure I'm going to leave this to you guys to let me know what you think down in the comments, because I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. A few more things before we go. First of all, I want to share this. I'm going to share a link to this right here. This is an article by Dennis Prager that just came out. It talks about what he predicts is going to happen up in 2019. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'll let you guys read it if you guys want. It's a pretty interesting read. It's a good article. And I wanted to share it with you. And also, President Trump's Twitter, as usual, we are always over here checking this thing out, and there's just so much great information here. But if you see what President Trump's been talking about lately, I think he's really, really just keeps hitting the nail on the head with all of his tweets and what's going on here. So we're just going to do a quick reacting to President Trump's Twitter. It's one of my favorite little segments to do here on the show. So here's President Trump. I am the only person in America who could say that I'm bringing our great troops back home with victory and get bad press. It is fake news and pundits who have failed for years that are doing the complaining. If I stayed in endless wars forever, they would still be unhappy. Truer words could not have been said by the president. In my humble opinion, I do trust the president. And then here's a great example. He's sitting in the Oval Office on New Year's Eve saying, I'm in the Oval Office. Democrats should come back from vacation now and give us the votes necessary for border security, including the wall. You voted yes in 2006. You voted yes in 2013. I'm adding a little there. One more yes, but with me in office, I'll get it built and fast. So, President Trump's doing everything he can to get this wall up. It's a huge deal. It's going to make a really important move in the right direction, and improving our security as a nation and as a whole. And here's a great one. I love this. This is like classic President Trump. It says, it's incredible how Democrats can all use their ridiculous soundbite and say that a wall doesn't work. It does, and properly built almost 100%. They say it's old technology, but so is the wheel. They now say it is immoral, but it is far more immoral for people to be dying. And I agree. And then there's a few other things. I'm going to let you guys go check out President Trump's Twitter. I always encourage you to come over here and check this out. And we have a couple new tweets here. One promoting Dr. Gorka's book, and another Happy New Year. And I love it. This came out 16 minutes ago. It's a fresh one. We'll read it. It says, Happy New Year to everyone, including the haters and the fake news media. 2019 will be a fantastic year for those not suffering from Trump derangement system. Just calm down and enjoy the ride. Great things are happening for our country. I love that tweet. That's awesome. Yeah, so go check out President Trump on Twitter, and let me know what you think about everything we covered here in this video in the comments. First off, a few things before we sign off. If you guys haven't hit that subscribe button, now's a great time to do it. Come here, click the big red subscribe button. It helps the channel out big time. Also, make sure you watch these videos, share them on your social media, and get the word out there that way. Also, I want to hear your thoughts, theories, and insights. So down at the bottom, leave a comment. I want to hear what you think. If you have a theory about what we covered here, because this story broke. For me, it broke 8 hours ago, probably for everyone else too, 10 hours ago maybe. So this is really, really breaking news. So I want to hear what you guys think about what this whole story is, what it could mean. And I'll leave links to some of this stuff that we covered here in the description so you guys can go do your own research, which I always encourage you to do. Now, a couple other ways you can help the channel out. First of all, you can come over here to Patreon, patreon.com, because yes, demonetization on YouTube is real. I don't talk about it as much, as often anymore, because it's like there's no point in continually talking about it over and over again, because it just has become a reality of doing this. But that's fine. You guys can help support this channel over on Patreon. It's patreon.com. You search Just Informed Talk, click this button to become a patron. It's a monthly donation, and I appreciate it. It helps the channel out big time. It helps keep this channel going. Also, if you guys don't want to do the monthly thing, because Patreon is a monthly donation, you can come over here to GoFundMe. I set up this page too. You can make a one-time donation here. I'll have links to both these in the descriptions. Another way you can help out the channel is to just come over here and check out my page, Just Informed Talk on Twitter. It's at Justin_formed. And of course, you can come over here and follow me. I'm very proud that I've hit 17,000 followers. That's a big mark, right? I love that number. I don't do a lot of tweeting, but I'm doing a lot. I'm working very hard to become a regular tweeter. Twitter, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but I'm doing that. So if you guys want to come check it out and support me on Twitter, I really encourage you to go do that. Also, don't forget to check out justinformednews.com, which is Just Informed Talk's official website. You get all the links to the Q research, how to find that, links to different websites that are going to get you started into finding some good news, and a couple news feeds, and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you guys want to come explore around here and check it out, I encourage you to definitely come do that. Now, before we go, we're going to talk about the most important thing. And of course, as usual, it's God's grace and how it is truly greater. It's a segment we do at the end of each one of these episodes, which I think is one of the most important as far as just putting, understanding that we deal with a lot of negative stuff on this channel sometimes, but we always balance it with the positive. We always balance it with the light and what's good. And for that, I want to talk about basically how to fight evil in the world. God gives us instructions, and they're written here throughout the Bible. And I want to share this piece of scripture with you. It's out of 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 8 through 11. And I just want to share this with you because it tells you how to basically combat evil in the world. It says, "Be sober, be on alert. Your adversary, the devil, is prowling around like a roaring lion, looking for anyone he can devour. Resist him, firm in the faith, knowing that the same sufferings are being experienced by your brothers in the world. Now the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ Jesus, will personally restore, establish, strengthen, and support you after you have suffered a little. To him be the dominion forever. Amen." And that's it. That's as simple as it is, guys. In life, we're going to go through different trials and different tribulations, different times of suffering. And the devil, the evil that lurks like a lion out there waiting to devour you if you misstep, waiting to take advantage of any weakness that you have. Now, we're all imperfect. I know I'm quite imperfect person, but I put my life to God, and I pray every day for God to give me the strength and courage and wisdom to be his most humble servant, so that I may serve the world the way he sees and needs fit, or the way he sees fit and the way he needs. Because I know that in honoring God's will and becoming a humble servant to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, that I am becoming the man this world needs. So I want you all to remember that when you go out in the world, that God absolutely loves you, and that no matter what happens, even after a little bit of suffering, you will be restored, established, strengthened, and supported by God from here to eternity. So remember that. I want to say thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, now's a great time to do it. Come here, click the big red subscribe button. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.